extend their bottom leg, and in the beginning, just to have top leg like this. And also, too, we're going to start with a good sense of alignment. So, when in standing assessments, we look at the placement of the ear over the shoulder over the hip over the side of the side of the knee over the ankle. That's like they call it plumb line, and they talk about assessing the alignment of your head. What compartments are forward or rolled back or whatever. So when you have the person in side line, you should try to keep the ear in line with the shoulder in line with the greater trochanter of the femur, this in line with the knee in line with the ankle. So you have nice alignment. Okay? So that's the first part in side line, is to make sure that they're in that kind of alignment and that they have something underneath their head and neck so that their cervical spine is in line with the rest. So it's not too much this way or this way. Okay? And because it's such a lovely opportunity to stretch, we're going to start this way. I'm going to bend this extended leg, put foot right at the knee, take this and lean back. Stretch the hip.
Awesome.
It's a nice way to start to get their attention immediately. And then when you release slow. Because you're coaxing the greater trochanter of the femur out of the acetabulum. And a lot of times you'll feel quite a bit of separation in the hip, but also because of the compression as we're ambulating around, there's a lot of compression in the ankle joint. So that's one of the reasons I'll go slow. Again, body weight, right? And then when you release slow. Now immediately they just assume you know what you're doing, so they're going to relax a little bit more. So we're going to come now and start here, and we're just going to start with a little compression here and opening. Come. Don't wait for the video. Come. We're just going to stabilize the head above the ear, not over the ear. And then you're going to place the palm of your hand right over the head of the humerus. And I'm in a wider stance so that I can lean my body weight in to get some nice stretch of the neck. You can see here, right? But easy, just by leaning in. It's okay?
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Good alignment. It's your body weight coming through your arm. Okay, and then you release. And also, this is a good way to get that same point we did right on the top of the trapezius, gallbladder 21. And if you take the time to align the body, you can use the ear as a marker. If you just extend that line right into the top of the shoulder, you should be pretty close to gallbladder 21. And I'm going to do, because it's through the thicker musculature, I'm going to do braced thumb. And the pressure is down towards the feet. And because of the nature of the upper trapezius, when it tightens, it not only tightens this way, but also it has a tendency to curl forward because it has fascial connections onto the clavicle. So you want to try to coax it back while you're doing that point. So I'm going to stabilize the head and use this forearm to lean in and engage the point, but also roll the trapezius back a little bit. Is that pressure okay?
Yeah, thank you.
So you're engaging into the tissue and then moving this way. Try to uncurl the trapezius. So again, stabilization, leaning in so it's your body weight coming in, engaging, and then just coaxing back. Okay? Good idea. Okay, so nice. And then we're going to come here, and we're going to come up like this. Again, one of the reasons I'm having you set the table down in case you have difficulty doing this. So you're placing the leg up here to stabilize their body so they can rest up against you. And your knee is approximately even with the top of their shoulder, because that gives you good access here. And we're going to slip your arm underneath their top arm and place it on the top of the shoulder so you have nice control of the shoulder girdle. But first we're going to start by placing our thumb up underneath the occipital ridge and get those points again that we did. But in this case we have the advantage of feeling for the mastoid process, placing our thumb right underneath there, and rather than excessively pressing with the thumb, we just apply a little bit of pressure, but then we depress the shoulder with our body weight, because it pulls the muscle down, it opens up the area where you can stimulate the point. So, he's okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're just leaning back, right? So it's just placing the thumb and then leaning back. Okay? And then a little petrissage into the side of the neck. And then we're going to intertwine our fingers and place them at the top of the shoulder and just lean back for a stretch. You see her head coming a little bit towards me, her neck a little tight there. That's why we stabilize a lot of times to define the stretch. But again, if their head and neck is tight and you pull back and their head comes up slightly off the pillow, then they also have the weight of their head pulling the muscle from that side. So it's a nice stretch. And you can change their angle a little bit so they get a little different stretch. Then hands separate so you have nice control of the shoulder girdle, and we're going to do a little range of motion. One way and then the other. Okay, so it's loosening a little bit. So one thing we want to do is promote a little motion this way to open up the shoulder. So we're going to let the shoulder fold forward first and feel for the vertebral border of the scapula. So this is going to be different on different people. It's not always going to be so accessible here. So let's see what we can do to work with different variations of that. But here, when I motion the shoulder forward, it exemplifies the vertebral border of the scapula enough so I'm going to take my hand and place it on my leg and hook my fingers up underneath the scapula. And then I'm going to bring it right onto my fingers just by bringing it back, and then I'm going to shift my weight to the side. So you get a nice stretch, and you're going to work that whole scapula. So you want to put the fingers there, bring the musculature onto your fingertips, and then just shift your weight to the side. It's okay, friend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And then just a couple more things. So we're going to bring the arm up to stretch here and here. So remember before we were doing the serratus, which is right here now. So here's the scapula. Here's the inferior angle of the scapula, and right in here is where you can add some nice pressure. It's okay.
Yeah, good.
And this helps free up the shoulder girdle, because the serratus can glue the shoulder girdle down onto the rib cage. And it's a nice broad application. And again, compression down but slightly towards the back, just a little bit to open it up. And then the next one is the teres muscle. So the teres is as high, at the crease of the here's the axillary fold. As high up as you can go, you want to come right in here. This is where the teres is, one of the shoulder cuff, rotator cuff muscles, thanks. One of the sits muscles, they call it. So you want to open it up, and then you can come in with your forearm and just sink right in there. Right, you want to open it up so you can access the muscle, and then come up as high as you can and then just close down on it, and you go right into it. Very nice release for the teres.
Is your pressure towards the head, or is it rolling the musculature
In this instance, because of the location, it's more like at a 45-degree angle in, so it's not straight down, but it's more like you're following, you're leaning right into the crease. That's where the muscle lives. Okay, and then we're just going to end this segment like this. Excuse me. I'm going to bring the arm up, and then straight up, and then slightly overhead, and then back, because this is going to stretch pec. Particularly at this angle, when you bring the arm straight up and slightly over their head and back, it stretches pec minor. Because that's the same angle that the muscle comes and attaches to the coracoid process. So this is a very nice stretch for pec minor. And for some reason, if this isn't working for some reason, one alternative for that same area stretch is to let the arm bend and have them place their hand at the back of their neck, and you're just going to stabilize their hip and bring the arm back this way. You feel?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty easy. But it allows you to use their arm as a lever, which is cool. Okay. And then we're just going to end this segment of it by just bring the arm down and stretch. And place it here, and we're going to end with just below the acromion shelf where the deltoids attach. And sink in. So right up underneath the acromion shelf. There's acupressure points there that they traditionally use to help relieve frozen shoulder, actually. And then you can just take it down. Okay, so we'll do that much? Okay, cool. Let's do it. Thank you.